Tata Group because it's in to close a deal to become the first smartphone iPhone maker in India. The first possible company that's going to close a deal to become an iPhone maker. It's good news for Tata. Tell us all that we know, Disha.
That's really a good news because it would be sort of a maiden time when an Indian company would go into the assembly of iPhones in India. So that will be helpful for both the entities. Also India, because it wants to become wants to project itself as an electronics hub. So if Tata will get into the manufacturing of iPhones in India, that is surely going to be helpful both for Tata and for India. And also for iPhone, why? Because it wants to sort of disconnect itself from China. So a major section of its manufacturing is happening in China at this point. So when it will shift the production in India, so that would be helpful. So there's sort of a mutual benefit that we see here.
So what we know so far is there's possibly going to be a takeover of a Tata-Wistron corporation factory in India, which assembles smartphones, iPhones to be particularly and in this case Tata Group is looking to take over. It's actually going to take over. The deal's finally closed. With Tata taking over this southern Karnataka based Wistron factory, it essentially means that Tata becomes the first Indian player to start assembling iPhones.
Oh, more than that, actually. In fact, making the iPhone 14 per se, which was happening. And here is a company that sells everything from salt to technology. That's the kind of group that conglomerate, the Tata Group is, Indian conglomerate, 155-year-old Indian conglomerate, which is now getting into making iPhones. It was already making the iPhone chassis, the metal casing unit of the iPhone at a huge factory in Tamil Nadu, incidentally, in the nearby Tamil Nadu from Karnataka. So now what is going to happen is that, as you're rightly pointing out, it's going to put together the entire iPhone 14, right here in India, in that southern Karnataka factory, where Wistron was making it either way. And the negotiations have been on for a year, Shweta, for the takeover of Tata's of the plant by Tatas for around $600 million, and that's where the deal is believed to have been closed for this southern Karnataka plant that makes the iPhones. It makes the latest versions of the iPhones, the iPhone 14. And that factory, that plant now gets taken over by Tata's $600 million. It's a Wistron facility, and guess what? Wistron sales were worth for the first 3 months of the year $500 million. Just for the quarter. Last quarter was $500 million, and this plant alone has been valued at worth $600 million. And a 155-year-old Indian conglomerate that sells everything from salt to technology is now going to be taking over. Very important messaging over here, Shweta. A company that can't get more Indian is now making the iPhone. That's the kind of message that Prime Minister Modi would want to be sending out to the world at a time when the world is looking to shift its factories away from China. So if the latest iPhones can be made by the most Indian of companies, that's the kind of message to be sent out for all that we've been talking about. Udisha has been talking about India's ambitions of being a global electronics manufacturing hub. As I said, as we were talking about, you see these different terms we're using, Shweta. Semiconductor chip manufacturing, display manufacturing, to iPhone manufacturing.
Assembly.
So clearly, I think we're looking at a future where every single piece of that iPhone will be made here in India, not just the assembly as well.
Yes.
So that's what we're moving towards. And this provides a great fillip to also Apple's ambitions here in India. Look at what it's going to be. The moment the iPhone 15 comes out, I'm guessing we're going to be able to roll them out of our factories in southern India as well. Another trend that Shweta, that you're noticing over here, not a surprise. The tech capital of India, southern India, also giving that push for tech manufacturing in India and tech and electronics manufacturing in India. Great news for the Tata Group. Sort of, Shweta, I would sort of put it on par with the Tatas making the Jaguars and Land Rovers. And from Jaguars and Land Rovers now to the iPhones. Fascinating.
Absolutely. A group that makes from salt to Jaguars and Land Rovers and now assembling iPhone in India. That, of course, is good news.